जिंदगी का मंत्र है। रात दिन उन पर समर्पण बंदगी का मंत्र है। घेर पाएगा लब, घेर पाएगा लब इस जग का घेरा। घेर पाएगा लब इस जग का घेरा। आप ही मिट जाएगा गहरा अंधेरा। जय गुरु कहकर शुरू करना सवेरा। जिनकी वाणी तेजमय है, जिनके सुर में ज्ञान है, हर घड़ी जिनके हृदय में भक्त का ही ध्यान है। जिनकी वाणी तेजमय है, जिनके सुर में ज्ञान है, हर घड़ी जिनके हृदय में भक्त का ही ध्यान है। क्यों ना उस धाम में, क्यों ना हम उस धाम में कर ले बसेरा। क्यों ना हम उस धाम में कर ले बसेरा। आप ही मिट जाएगा गहरा अंधेरा। जय गुरु कहकर शुरू करना सवेरा। जय गुरु कहकर शुरू करना सवेरा। आप ही मिट जाएगा गहरा अंधेरा। जय गुरु कहकर शुरू करना सवेरा। जय गुरु जय जय गुरु जय जय गुरु। 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 जय गुरु।
Jai Guru Ma. It was really a soothing, harmonious version, a beautiful start. Praying for your good health and Istacentric life. Now I request Tapasi Shilma to offer a version.
জয় গুরু, সবাইকে আমার জয় গুরু। যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। প্রভাত পাখি গানে গানে, প্রভাত পাখি গানে গানে, উছল নদীর কলতানে। প্রভাত পাখি গানে গানে, উছল নদীর কলতানে। সবুজ পাতার মরমরে ক্ষণে ক্ষণে ওঠে ধ্বনি। ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। ভুবন বীণায় আহা আহা আহা। আমার শোনিত ধারা শনি মানস লোকে কোনি কোনি। আমার শোনিত ধারা শনি মানস লোকে কোনি কোনি। অনেক গীতের মূর্ছনা তোলে সদা অনুরণী। ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। প্রভাত পাখি গানে গানে, উছল নদীর কলতানে। সবুজ পাতার মরমরে ক্ষণে ক্ষণে ওঠে ধ্বনি। ভুবন বীণায় আহা আহা আহা। ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। ভুবন বীণায় যে সুর বাজে সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। সে যে তোমার প্রভু আগমনী। জয় গুরু।
Jai Guru Tapasima, very sweet, pleasant, and melodious version, praying for your good health and East-centric life. Jai Guru. Often we have very charismatic personality. We gain the peace-loving nature. We have the adventurous life. We have that attitude of a dreaming. We gain that courageous thought, and we have that ecstatic feeling. But some other time, again the same person having concerned, irritated, annoyed, worried, bored, defeated, baffled. Why so? The same person is having good vibration sometime, the same person is having bad vibration some other time. Why so? Sometime we're able to have a lively walk on the rocky outcrop cliff, but some other time we miss to see the natural beauty in the evergreen forest. Sometime we are able to survive happily in the bitterly cold in a deadly winter, but some other time we fail to survive in a lively sunny weather. Why so? There is an imbalance in our rhythm. If we correlate, the same person has have that energy to follow the beautiful path, and if he loses that energy, he fall into a bad bumpy path. Why so? This all relates to a principle oriented, a good vibration in a single word, an ideal centric life. If we ensure ourselves falling into that attitude of following the ideal centric life, we won't have this imbalance, but we fail. We miss to have this ideal centric life even if we are initiated because we are inclined to the complexes. And this kind of events, these beautiful versions, kirtans, attending the satsang really help us on following ourselves towards the Ishta-centric life. We also listen very enlightening jajans from lots of dadas, which also helps us gaining our knowledge and learning ourselves how we can make ourselves Ishta-centric. Today, we have a senior Ritik, Sri Rohinandan Patnaik, with us. We are very fortunate enough to hear words from him. As a profession, he is a retired high school headmaster, an ideal centric teacher who helped all the satsangis and many of the students to follow Sri Thakur. The most amazing part is he had the opportunity to see Sri Thakur during his mortal presence. Sri Rohini Nandanda loves to read books. In fact, he had read most of the books related to Sri Thakur. He is an eminent speaker and he always tries to follow the ideal centric life and also helps others to follow the same. I request Sri Senior Ritik Sri Rohin Nandan Patnaik to unmute and share few of his words. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru Dada.
In chair, respected workers of Satsang, and my dear brothers and mothers, my dear children, it is a rare privilege on my part to be here in your midst this fine morning. And I have been asked to speak a few words on Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra and his ideology. I am thankful, I am grateful to those who have given me such an opportunity to share some time sitting in this some advised to put my discussion both in Bengali and English. I am really afraid to declare that my speech habit has been reduced after my retirement from high school. You have already done it. And I shall try my best to highlight some of the points, some of the cardinal points, which would of course not suffice to put Thakur before all of you. So I think I may be excused for any act of omission or commission, which I would, commit during my discourse. Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra is really, is a hard nut to crack. None can put him in linguistic jargons. None can explain him to others. It is too hard actually. It is almost impossible. So vast, so versatile a genius. I don't know actually how to put him in words. But whenever we think of him, whenever we try to speak some words on his life, on his mission, on his message, we feel really improvised. But I think you will kindly give your ears, lend your ears to my discussion. Sri Thakur came when India was under the foreign rule. He was born in 1888, and he went back to his heavenly abode in 1969. I have simply once able to see him from my gross eyes. That's all. I went there in 69 without so, and 68 without so. I'm sorry, but he went back to his heavenly abode in 1969. Simply once, I had that rare fortune to see him. In the Bhagavad Gita, it has been mentioned. আমরা তো কিছু নেই বললেই হয়, যারা সিদ্ধ সাধক, যারা spiritual seekers, spiritual leaders, they even can't fathom him. Once Thakur said in his own words that I remain unfathomed and unfathomable even to myself. He can't critically assess himself, but to speak of others. In his own words, if I am allowed to speak, আমি আমার তল পেলাম না, আমি আমার কাছে unknown and unknowable হয়ে থেকে গেলাম। আপনারা বুঝতে পারবেন নিশ্চিতভাবে উনি নিজে নিজকেই প্রকাশ করতে পারছেন না, আমরা তো কিছুই নেই। তবুও আমরা যখন তার কথা বলি কিংবা চিন্তা করি, we derive pleasure, the like of which we don't find anywhere. Such a personality is Sri Thakur Nupur. Simply to see him is to realize him to some extent in our individual capacity. Whatever we speak, whatever we think about him, it gives us joy, it gives us pleasure. When we take Rasugollah, we realize its sweetness. When we see it, it means nothing. We can't describe it. But to see Thakur is to learn many things. Seeing him only gives us pleasure. Unfortunately, most of us have not seen him in our, either in childhood or in our youth, or today when he is no more. He comes and ever comes when we suffer, when needs arise. He is our master, our guide, our Sadguru, our God, personal God. We don't know what God is. We can't describe God. And to describe God, even when he is in flesh and blood, is also to delimit him, to shorten him. He is Ananta, endless. He is eternal. And we are fellow mortals of this earthly planet. But still, we try to follow him. We try to fulfill him. His message is, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamikam Saranam. Give up everything and come to me. I will give you everything. Seek everything in me. It was in utterance while he was in trance. A personality like Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation. A personality like Dasbandhu Chittaranjan, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So many eminent persons, so many, rare genius have come in contact with him. This doesn't mean that they have been Thakur's disciples. No doubt. They had love for Thakur. They had respect for Thakur. They have come in contact with Thakur, but unfortunately they have not made themselves Sri Thakur's disciples, Sri Thakur's devotees. Particularly when he was in Pabna, just before the partition of India, the eminent personalities who came in contact with him were down with the thoughts of freedom, with the, revolution, who is the man for our freedom. Thakur came to the Devghar in 1942, I think. If I'm wrong, please give me a corrective when my speech is over, my discussion is over. And when he came to India, from that time onwards, came so many persons from across India and above. That means the revolution, we can say, which Thakur started in Pabna, got its culmination, its consummation, while he was in India. Suppose you are the head of a family. So if there is some problem, if there is some crisis in your family, our eyes roll on you because you are the central figure of the family and you are held responsible. You are liable for anything, either helpful or harmful. If you are the principal of a college, if there is some problem, naturally, we gather with you. We come to you to understand the nature of the problem and discuss with you how to get rid of that crisis, that very problem. If there is something wrong with our country, we go to the frontliners who have got the responsibility to help our country and solve the problems, address the issues. Similarly, it is God's creation, this entire universe. If there is something wrong with this creation, we can fix liability on the creator. The creator has to bother. He has to find out means, check out plans and programs to address those problems or crises. But God, the creator of this universe, has promised to come to our help whenever there is some problem or crisis. It is his liability. And so he comes and ever comes. When, we cry for help. Thakur says, the advent of Purushottam. He comes in the form of Purushottam, in the forms of redeemers, saviors of mankind. He is not only a spiritual giant, a spiritual preceptor. He is the savior. And today, when we find degeneration on all fronts of human life, on all fronts of existing society, naturally, we give him a clarion call to assume human dimension and bloom or blossom on earth. Sri Thakur own words puts it thus: the advent of Purushottam on earth is a rare phenomenon, and sometimes it takes thousands of years. He's the cry of the suffering people, downtrodden people. And he can't but come to our help and guide us, show us the real path for our peace, progress, and prosperity. Thakur has come in such a moment when all our, saving mechanisms fail to save us, to guide us. And he comes in a lame motor, as a layman. If we see him, apparently there is nothing to mark in his body, in his gestures and postures. So striking. Thakur's advent or Thakur's coming to this world deserves a special mention. From Lord Buddha, the Tathagata, up till now, we have never seen such a personality who is, regarded as a Purushottam, a spiritual giant, and at the same time, a normal man. Because from Buddha up till Thakur, we have seen Lord Buddha, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Ramakrishna, and many other spiritual giants who has acted as spiritual personalities only. We are all family holders, I can say. We have our parents, we have our wives and children, we have our kids and kings, we have our family in the strict sense. But those whose name I have already mentioned don't appear to be so normal as ourselves. They had their family. Try to think of Gautam. He was a prince, and his father tried his best to keep him with his family, with his dear and near ones, starting from his mother up to his beloved wife. He had also a child, but none could bind him in family life. He had to renounce anything and everything that came in the way of his spiritual success. So is the case with Lord Gauranga. He also left home and hearth and went out to seek God, to obtain God. And what about Ramakrishna then? No doubt, he had his conjugal life. He married to, Sarada Devi. And he was confined to Dakshineshwar Kali Mandir, and he was there all through his life. Although Mother Sarada came to him, but we don't find the conjugal life, the couple life, as we have in their lives. And in that, from that point of view, Sri Thakur Chandra is no doubt an exception. he had his wife and children, his family. Although his family and the ashram, you can see where identify. People came to his, earthly abode and joined Satsang movement and stayed with him until the last breath of their life. So, in this sense, Thakur is an exception. We can't confine him to our spiritual domain, to our spiritual life. He had his matter-bound existence also. As a friend, as a philosopher, as a guide, he has left no stone unturned. His only mission was to save us. His only mission was to make us men in the true sense of the term. He was such a man that there was no obstacle. He put no obstacle. Rather, how to describe Thakur? How to put him in words? Abang manasa gocharam. Nothing can, describe. No one can describe. Nothing can describe it. He is beyond our reach. When God assumes human form and comes to us, he is not an ordinary human being. Seemingly he is ordinary, no doubt. But actually, truly speaking, he is such a height, none can reach it. What is Thakur after all? The highest height of man. All our questions, all our queries, all our search, all our researches, stop with him. Make a halt with him. He is the inexhaustible source of anything and everything pertaining to life. Supporting life and growth, being and becoming. Suppose today you see Thakur surrounded with persons who are discussing politics. But tomorrow you'll find him surrounded by spiritual seekers who are discussing on God, Godhood, etc., etc. The day after tomorrow, you can see him sitting in the midst of ashramites and persons coming from here, there, and everywhere, and discussing with them very ordinary, insignificant affairs. The day after, you can find him throwing light on science. Thus he is a versatile personality, multi-dimensional personality. When Dasbandhu Chittaranjan came, he was surprised to see Thakur because Thakur was so human. Thakur was so down to the ground. Like a skylark, he can go up into the air, and in a moment, he can also come down. He had his family, but I can't hear you. Clearly. Am I audible?
Yes, Dada, you are audible. Sorry, there was some disturbance from other participant. Please, sorry about that.
All right. So when people saw that he was engaged in, ordinary, insignificant affairs of life, of society, they were surprised because they thought Thakur to be a spiritual preceptor. এবার করিব লীলা অতি চমৎকার, excellent role of Thakur on our planet. এমনটা আর হবে না, এমনটা আর পাবি না, পরম পিতার এমন আলিঙ্গন আর পাবি না। Such a giant personality is Thakur. People, although he had his family life, but he didn't have a binding like ours. Sisi Burma, Lakshma, we call her, never tried to confine Thakur to her family life, to the people with whom she was, with whom she had a very intimate touch. She gave, complete freedom to Sisi Thakur to roam among people and look into their affairs, look into their problems, their solution, etc., etc. He was a practical spiritualist. When he was in Pabna, people used to call him, people used to see him in that light. Thakur says, we are all, our passion-centric. We guide ourselves, we guide ourselves with the help of our passion. Our complexes, our octopus, Thakur says, and all our sufferings are due to our own faults, our own, our own hurdles, mistakes, blunders. We commit blunders every now and then and suffer. And Thakur says, you are publicity oriented. You are guided and goaded by your complexes. So many complexes are there. Thousands of complexes. We can't put one complex in a watertight compartment. They are correlated. They are intermingling, or intermingled, we can say. So those complexes drive us this way and that way, sometimes towards left, sometimes towards right. We don't know what is our real, path to our goal. And what is our goal? Our goal is to realize God who has created us. He is the very source of our existence, the source of our, progressive go of life. So unless and until we surrender ourselves to his lotus feet, unless we accept him as our guide, as our pathfinder, we can't reach our goal. To realize God means to realize anything and everything. God assumes human dimension. The unseen, unsaid God is visible, becomes visible in human form when he comes down to save us. So he's our center, love center. He's our love center. If we love you with undivided attention, with all our sincerity, with all our love, with all our, allegiance, adherence, you know all these terms. Thakur has uttered so many times. Thakur has given emphasis to these words. And when we follow him, when we dedicate ourselves to his lotus feet, he finds a chance to guide us. It is not that he has descended on earth and all of our problems are over. Not that. If there is a school or a college in your village, can you ensure that all those, who are the villagers are sure to be pandits, sure to be, learned? Not that. An educational institution is there. This much. If you get yourself admitted in that institution, if you agree to bind yourselves with all the laws, all the principles, of that institution, if you come and join that institution regularly, then and then only you can achieve something. You can learn something. But if you avoid that institution, you won't find any profit. How can you find any profit? So to follow him is the only method that can give us everything we desire for our life, for our good. Whenever he comes, he gives us that clarion call. I once told you, come to me, love me, follow me, as Jesus told. Follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Why did Jesus utter such words? Because if we really need peace, bliss, if we really try to enjoy our life, we must come in his contact. Because our life is a gift of that Almighty God, who has come as a human being. So when as a human being he appears on this planet, he is also, unbounded. Don't think that he's a normal man, and thus we can reach him, we can accept him, we can critically assess him, evaluate him. Not at all. Being finite, he is also infinite. Abang manasu gocharam. When God is unseen, invisible, no doubt he remains beyond our reach. But even when he comes as a human being, he is still beyond our reach. So simply we have to accept him. That is our that is the first thing. And secondly, we have to follow him. Thakur says we learn so many things in this society. We can discriminate between good and evil. We are so wise, so prudent, so experienced, so educated, we can see. But how is it that we can't identify him? We can't realize him. That he is that very person who has come to save us, who has come to give us joy, who has come to give us enjoyment. How is it that we can't learn these things? It is strange. So our first thing is to know him, to identify him, that he is the fulfiller. He is the fulfiller, the supreme fulfiller, best fulfiller. And when he comes, he is also knowledge incarnate. What is the knowledge? Particularly in our time, what we learn from schools, colleges, etc. It is not learning. It is not, knowledge in the true sense. We can call it information. What is the wisdom? We have lost in information. What is the knowledge? We have lost it in, information. What is the wisdom? We have lost in knowledge. Whereas in knowledge, we have lost in information. So we have gathered, we have collected some information and think that we are learned. Think that we are extraordinary. And we have come to save our fellow mortals. I myself am blind. And how can I show path to others? As he is the supreme fulfiller, we must believe it. Because we have seen, even who has not yet seen the threshold of a school or college, but has the rare opportunity to come in contact with him, has become learned, has become more experienced than us. How is it possible? It is possible because when someone comes in contact with him, when someone is ready to carry out his comments, he gains experience. He gathers experience. And out of this experience, we get, knowledge. It is experience that gives us knowledge. Not the books, not the library facility, not any other source that can make us men of learning, men of knowledge, men of realization. So our task is to accept him wholeheartedly and do things as directed by him from time to time. I have come back from Cambridge or Oxford or Pennsylvania. That's why I'm learning. Not that. A doctor, an engineer, an IS or IPS also drinks wine. And it's seen lying along the, road, unconscious. Then what should be our life? Our life should be, a doctor-centric, engineer-centric, or IS-centric. Not at all. We need not follow a learned man, an IPS officer, an IS officer. But when we come in contact with him, he can modify us. He can resurrect us. Our fallen image may be upgraded when we come in contact with him. We can cite so many examples. You already know it. Think of Narendranath. When he came in contact with Ramkrishnadeva, he was no more Narendranath. He was Vivekananda. Think of Ashok. Think of Jagai Madhai. So all those who have followed him, who have believed him, who have, thought him to be their guide, to be their God, have realized what life is, have realized what a society is, what a country is. He is really, we Poly University. He is the living university. He is the living university. Thakur's, educational reform is really revolutionary. Thakur thinks it is enough. 3 years education. 3 years education is enough for matriculation. Thakur says, if a child lives at home and comes in contact with the members of the family, he learns so many things. People living as family, share so many tastes, so many temperaments of so many persons living under a single roof. And he learns a lot. And when he is admitted into a college, an educational institution, he finds it very easy to earn or to gain from his or her teachers or professors, what you say. What you say, yes. So for Thakur, this family environment, this home, everyone's home, is really a university, a miniature university. Thus, I have already admitted before all of you that I'm lacking in a habit. For a period of 10 to 12 years, I've lost my touch with vocabularies, with all the mechanisms which are help to teach in an educational institute. You are all learning persons, learning people. You have learned many things from Sri Thakur, and you have come to the conclusion that had there been no Thakur, we have been really impoverished in the world. We are, we are roaming. Thus, Sri Thakur has advised us to follow him, to stick to him, to follow him as our savior, whoever you may be. Unless and until you come in contact with him, you listen to him, you serve him, you worship him, you follow him, you fulfill him, you are not truly learned. You are not truly educated. But if a person having no formal education goes to him, keeps his company, in a few days he becomes Pandit. He becomes a learned man. Thus, I think the only one information we have to give others is that the Almighty has come, the creator of our lives, the creator of this universe, has already been available on earth, who lived with us for a period of 80 to 81 years and left for its heavenly abode in 69. And he has created this tradition of Acharya, in which we find Sisi Borda, Sisi Dada, Sisi Babaida. They speak in one voice. They don't divert our attention. They simply want us to concentrate on Thakur's ideology, Thakur's program, and they are ready to help us, to guide us in our sadhana, in our journey to our goal, that is God realization. Jang labdhata parang labha manyatana dikang tato jasmin sthitana dukkhena guruna api. When we have him, when we gain him, when we accept him, we feel that we have nothing to receive more, nothing to accept more. We have got everything. We are psychologically satisfied. We are psychologically satisfied when we come in contact with him and follow him and make him our guide. Ignoring him, whatever we gain, whatever we achieve, it becomes meaningless. It is futile. To gain him, to accept him as our guide, as our friend, as our own man, is really rewarding. Thus, let us hope that all the people of earth may come to his holy feet and accept him as their guide, as their pathfinder, and get maximum pleasure, maximum profit in their life. And really, in that way, all our lives can be, fruitful, can be blessed and blissful. Once more, I pray for your, for your health, for your peace, for your stability, and everything that is life-giving. Many, many thanks once again from the core of my heart. Jai Guru, Bandi Purushottam.
Jai Guru Dada. We are very, always we blessed when we hear about Sri Thakur. And I'm definitely sure you are blessed enough, as you have seen him, Sisi Thakur, in your own eye. And also, I learned that you have spent time with the immediate devotees of Sisi Thakur. Thank you very much for enlightening us for such a practical jajan. As we understand, the most learned person is who realizes the God, and describing him in the flesh and blood is actually delimiting him. That's a very vital point. We would also like to have you in our future satsangs. I pray for your good health and Ishta-centric life. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru, Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Now, Suranjan Bhai, let's proceed for Jai Radhe.